And if anybody has questions for the Red Cross? Vanguard?
Nigerian Free Press. Are there any particular caveats that the Red Cross would be looking for in the potential for a Security Council resolution that would be forceful humanitarian intervention in the Congo?
Well, naturally, we'd be looking to reduce any civilian casualties. We'd be looking towards a peacekeeping mission, not one towards hostilities. We'd also be looking for more funding to humanitarian efforts. One of the agreements that South Africa and the Minister of Justice and I were discussing involved the presence of a new refugee camp in South Kivu, which would support not only refugees but victims from volcanic eruption. So we'd definitely be looking for more resources to fund that. The Red Cross is stretched as far as resources go right now, but we're willing to commit to that solution.
Are there any further questions? Yes.
This is Barron's Observer. Do you have any comments on the hospital in the Kivu area with some 5,000 patients within it?
Right now, like I said, our resources are stretched. There's also other agencies in the area. There's Doctors Without Borders. We're working actually quite closely with them to provide medical services. We already provide training, we provide surgeons, although, like I said, being with stretched resources, we can't address all the issues.
And follow up to that, with those stretched resources, does it really even matter if they're stretched if you're not even allowed to enter that area in which the conflict is taking place?
We have attempted to enter certain conflict areas, but for the safety of our staff, we haven't been able to enter all these conflict zones.
Thank you. Mail and Guardian?
Mail and Guardian, South Africa. Given that you just mentioned that Red Cross's resources are considerably stretched, how exactly do you propose to help South Africa's proposal of setting up a new refugee camp, which from our understanding the Red Cross was going to take over the majority of the facilitation?
We originally discussed taking over mostly administrative and medical facilities, but now we've entered into discussions with Doctors Without Borders, so they would take over a lot of the other services and medical related services, I should say.
Vanguard?
Can the Red Cross comment on the conditions for civilians in FDLR held territory that you've had the opportunity to?
We definitely want to break FLDR territory to provide the services. Unfortunately, we couldn't come to an agreement between both the government and the FDLR because FDLR conditions required them escorting us into their territory. Unfortunately, if we were attached to one of their military convoys, we were concerned that that might make us a target and may jeopardize the safety of our crew.
Mail and Guardian?
Does the Red Cross see itself maybe working with MSF in the future and specifically on the agreement that they have come to with the FDLR where the MSF has safe passage in their territories? Does the Red Cross see that they'll at some point in the future have safe passage through the
We originally discussed that with the FDLR prior to the MSF discussing that. Actually, at this point, the MSF is also withdrew their support in that. So at this point, without government consent to this, all NGOs are concerned with making themselves targets.
And one final question from Vanguard.
Given the recent breaking news on corruption between various government factions in the Congo, has the Red Cross found it a little bit more difficult to work in the legitimate function with members of the government? And in its place, has it considered branching out to other various regional players in response to the delegitimization that many of the government institutions have been facing?
We have worked with all parties in the DRC committee, not necessarily just government facilities. And we will continue to work with any NGOs or other parties. We'll continue to monitor any progress made as well, trying to capture some of that corruption and prevent it in the future.
Can I ask a question? Is it?
We've run out of time. Sorry.
I have a question. Is it possible for countries to ask a question? Like one?
We try to get IPC members first, but we run out of time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Red Cross